Hey Bookends! Welcome to this week's 10-minute book review. I'm 10. So this week's book review is going to be on a quick read that we did over the weekend. It is the Unlikelies by Carrie Firestone. So usually what we do to start off is we give a star point, like how many stars out of 10 stars would this book get, and also a rating. If this was a movie, what would it be rated? So this book gets 7 out of 10 stars. It was really good. And as a rating, it's PG-13, not because of what's actually in the book, but what's kind of alluded to in the book. And I know I just showed you what the jacket looks like. The jacket is super cute. But get a load of the book. Normally I don't like naked books. Like, you made a cover for a reason, but look at this book. I was considering donating this book, but this book is just too beautiful. It's just too cute. It almost looks like a diary, which adds to the allure of the book itself. So this is a contemporary YA fiction. It stars Sadie Sullivan. So Sadie Sullivan is a 17-year-old girl. She's a junior. In her junior year of high school. And she's, doing her junior summer, so she's going to be a senior when school starts back up. She lives in South Hampton. I'm sorry, she lives in South Hampton, so she lives in the Hamptons. In I guess what they would consider middle-class house. I would consider it rich, but they don't. And her best friend Shay went to California to do a camp counselor kind of a thing for her summer job. Her mom, now here's the thing, I don't know how they're able to afford this nice house and a car and stuff. Her dad sells ice cream cones, like he's an ice cream man, and her mother sells window treatments. So I don't know how they can afford all this, but anyway, so yeah, Sadie, she works at a fruit stand, a farmer's market fruit stand. And while she's at work one day, she sees a baby in trouble and she helps to rescue the baby. In the process, she gets hit with a bottle. And so she ends up being called the hometown hero or homegrown hero, something to that effect. And she's invited to a luncheon for other kids in the area who have done great things. When she goes to the luncheon, she meets some people, some she already knew but hadn't spoken to in a while, and some she's meeting for the first time. So one of the girls is Alice. They used to be in Girl Scouts together. She was called Pooch, and her best friend, Alice's best friend, was, I forgot her actual name. Izzy. She was called Nay, so it was Pooch and Nay. So she meets Alice there. Another girl that she meets her name is Val. I'm sorry, let me tell you why they're there. So Alice is there because she works with shelters, taking pictures of the dogs in the shelters so that they look photogenically pleasing and they get adopted out quicker. A girl named Val is there because she's been collecting school supplies to give them out to children who are in need and to mail them internationally to children who need school supplies. Another boy is there. His name is Jean. He's there because he started a summer program for children, for little toddlers, to do art, to learn and do art. And then there's Gordy, he's a boy that Sadie already knew in her school but didn't really talk too much. So she had a crush on Gordy for years in middle school, but somehow or another it got out that he was gay. And so of course she let the crush go because it's like, if he's gay, he's not going to be checking for me. But she still thinks he's cute because he is cute. So they all meet up at the luncheon. They all get their, awards and everything. And Alice suggests that she's like, hey, I like you people. Let's, exchange numbers. So they start a group text. They start hanging out. And when they hang out, they end up going on something called a slam page, which is basically a page that each high school has. It's not an official high school page, but it's a page that each high school has where people talk junk about each other. So it's kind of like a troll page, like a trolling page. And so they log on to the slam pages for each one of their schools, and they decided they're going to put up nice stuff. Like when someone says, ew, you fat cow, they put up, you know, she's not that fat, she's cute, or, you know, stuff like that. It's interesting to see how different people see things, because Sadie said that her friend Shay got called a fat behind on one of the slam pages. Now where I'm from, you got a big butt, you good. Like nobody's making fun of a big butt. Like no one's looking like, oh, she got a big butt. No, people are like, oh, she got a big butt. She got a fatty. You know, so for where I'm from, no one's gonna look at you, you know, poorly if your butt big. But apparently because of that, Shay was self-conscious about her behind being big. I don't know. But yeah, so they start doing things basically to counteract the trolls. The more that they all hang out, the more Sadie realizes that she still has a super crush on Gordy. And the more she finds that she just, you know, likes his company. Something else interesting about these kids is like they're hanging out all hours of the night into the morning, just living life. Sadie, you know, said that her parents didn't give her a curfew or anything. They're like, we trust you. Implicitly. I'm like, girl, I'm surprised you ain't got 3 kids, an STD, and a habit. Trust implicitly. Anyway. So yeah, they hang out, they drink. They do what I guess unsupervised teenagers would do, who have a, you know, a green card to do whatever they want to. But they're not doing like any heavy stuff. Like they're not doing drugs. They're not like committing crimes or anything like that. They're just basically not going home. So they all become really close and they start talking, you know, about different stuff. And they're like, you know, they just start chatting about what they would be in their high school yearbooks. Most likely to succeed, most likely to save a puppy, you know, stuff like that. And Val, I think it is the one who says it doesn't make sense about the most likely to do anything. It'd be better to say most unlikely to do something, because then when you do it, it's like, yay, you accomplished something. And by the way, Val has a verbally abusive, emotionally abusive boyfriend. He has lupus, but he kind of uses his disease against her. Like, she feels bad that he has lupus, so she wants to break up with him, but then she feels like a jerk for wanting to break up with someone who's sick. But he's, like, really abusive towards her. He's, like, he wants her to hang out with him and his friend, but never for her to hang out with her friends. He always wants to have an argument with her, so, yeah. Yes. So, that's why they get the name the Unlikelies. They become the Unlikelies. And they just go around doing really good things. Like, there was this one boy who was getting bullied because, okay, he had created a page about Mayan civilization because he loved ancient civilizations. And he researched it. He made the graphics look great. But people got on the page and they were just saying weird and crazy things about him. His name was Greg. So what the Unlikelies decide to do is they go onto his page and they start putting up like, wow, I didn't know this about the Mayans. Wow, this is great. Wow, wow. And so other people who didn't know about his page, they start to Google his page. Like, they, you know, they Google Mayans or however it happens, and they see his page and like, wow, this is cool. This is great. So, you know, they're just going around doing good things. Sadie makes friends with an old man. He's one of her regular customers at the fruit stand, Mr. Upton. And he's old, he's 97, and he makes her, like when he's about to die, he makes her promise that she'll take a suitcase from him and that she'll right the wrongs that his father did. She's like, I don't even know what wrongs he's talking about or what's in the suitcase or what have you. Oh, the sun came out. Yay! So yeah, she's like, I don't even know what he's talking about, but she and her friends go get the suitcase. And she finds diamonds inside one of the dolls inside the suitcase. And so they're working out how they can help people with the diamonds. they decide ultimately to send a diamond to a family whose child needs treatment for something. A teacher who was trying to raise $20,000 for something for her school in Alaska. And then finally, the baby that she helped save, she sends one to that woman, to the baby's mother, to try to help with raising her. So the teacher, she uses hers for the school, and she's so happy. The parents use theirs for the child. They're so happy. The baby, I think the baby's name was Ella. Her mother, on the other hand, she's on Facebook turning up, getting lit. She had like expensive liquor, expensive dress, like turn up. So Sadie feels horrible. Now here's something else. So you remember we talked about Alice and Izzy, or Puccinet. So Izzy's on drugs now. Izzy's on heroin. And Alice spends most of the book dogging, like not dogging her, but like kind of chasing her around to try to help her friend. And her friend just really don't want help. And there is a psychiatrist who turned drug dealer who's renting out a house in the Hamptons. I thought it was so funny when Alice called the house a trap house. And Sadie was like, what's a trap house? Or why do they call it a trap house? And Alice is like, I don't know, because they trap people in there. I don't know where that came from. Like, that's okay. Just if you're watching this, you're not from the hood, or you just don't know her hood terminologies. That's not why they call it a trap house. They're not trapping people in there. They're not locking people away in those houses. People can leave whenever they want to. Generally don't, but they can. But this isn't Hood 101, so I'm not gonna go into that. Yes, so I thought that was funny, because I guess in their world, that's not things that they see. When I started reading this book, so originally I just planned on it being like a mental scrub, because I just read a really heavy book, and so I wanted to read something light, and this seemed light and happy. It seemed light and happy. Something that looked like this can't be a sad story, unless they're jerks like Lemony Snicket. But I'm sorry if you like Lemony Snicket. I'm sorry. Don't you just eat. Yeah. But anyway, so that's why I started reading this book, because I wanted a mental scrub. I had just read Underground Airplanes, which you'll hear about on Wednesday, but I just read that book and I needed a mental scrub because it was just too everything. And when I started reading, I'm like, ugh, rich kid problems. Ugh. I don't want to hear it. Who has a nook in their bedroom? What does a bedroom nook look like? Like, ugh. But the more I read it, the more I started to forget the differences between my life and the lives of the people in the book. And the more I started to become one of the Unlikelies myself, if that makes sense. So the way the author wrote it, it puts you into the story. Like, you didn't have to live out every single day with every single character, right? You're only living through Sadie, first of all. And you're not living out every second of the day with Sadie. So there's skips in the book which come at the right time and skip to the right time. So because of how the book is written, it kind of brought me back to being in high school. Not because I had any similar experiences to these children in the book, because I'm not rich. And actually, Val isn't rich either. She lives in kind of a project. But if you look at projects in a rich town, is that really a project? I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, I wasn't rich. So, or at least well off to that degree. None of it. So I didn't identify with them in that way. But kind of the carefree type of stuff going on. Like, feeling invincible. I can remember being in high school and feeling invincible. I can remember being in high school and wanting to hang out with my friends And, you know, not really wanting to help my friend. I didn't have any friends who were on drugs, and they knew what trap houses were. So I couldn't identify on that level, but it just made me feel like I was one of them, like I was in high school again too, from the way the writer wrote it. I don't like YA contemporary fiction. I don't. I just don't. But it seems to be whenever I read one, or whenever I force myself to read one, I end up liking that book in particular. I remember in high school we had to read Stargirl over the summer, and I'm like, I don't want to read this. Who cares? Jerry who? But when I read the book, I'm like, wow, this girl's a nuisance. You know, she was really quirky. But I ended up enjoying it. The armadillo tie thing was kind of quirky on the guy's part too. But anyway, we're not talking about that book. So yeah, the author kind of brought me into the book. So that was awesome. There were certain things in it that I personally didn't understand. I guess because either one, I've never owned a house, or two, I've never had the money to, or friends that had the money to live in houses like these, like when they were talking about a hedgerow or bedroom nook. Those things just poof, 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 poof out of me. I had to Google them. So I guess in that way, someone in Southampton may not know what a trap house is, but I guess I didn't know what a hedgerow is. Hedgerow. I'm guessing that is just a privacy hedge. Like the hedges that people grow up for privacy, but I guess if you have money, you can grow them all the way up to the top of your house. I don't even know. But yes, this was a really good read, and it had a happy ending. There was some drama in it between the friends. Sadie's mouth ran too much, which I found annoying, but then again, she's 17, so I don't know. Over here, we know loose lips sink ships and snitches get stitches, so our mouths don't run that much unless it's like two people telling each other's business because they don't like each other. But yeah, so she's talked too much. Yeah, but things ended up good. Like I really liked Gordy. I really like how the author developed the relationship between Sadie and Gordy. So it turns out Gordy wasn't really gay. People just put on the slam page that he was gay because he works with I'm sorry, I didn't tell you what Gordy did. Gordy works with a special education group called Turtle Trails. And so they saw him hanging out with this guy named Keith, who's like 27. He's the son of Keith is the son of his nanny. So he was hanging out with him because he had no friends, and people just assumed that Gordy was gay, but Sadie was pleasantly surprised that he wasn't. So now they're together. Her and Gordy are together. So I'm very happy about that. This book was written in 2017, so I was looking to see if there was a second book. There is not. I'm hoping that Miss Firestone writes another one because I'd love to find out what other adventures the Unlikelies went on. It was so well written. I recommend it to anyone who likes YA contemporary fiction. I can see this as a movie, not as a show. If it was a show, I think too many liberties would be taken if it had to drag out for a season or two. So this would be great as a movie. I'd watch it. So yay! This has been a 10-minute book review for The Unlikelies by Carrie Firestone. I know it has a cover, but I'm loving this. And it says her name on the side too, so is that better? Okay, yeah. See, it says her name on the side too. So, oh my god, look. Okay, look. The ice cream cone, I just noticed the ice cream cone is saying no, don't drop me. But anyway, yeah. Thank you so much. I have too much fun with these covers. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope that you join us again on Wednesday for our Blackathon review. That'll be for Underground Airplanes by a man's name that I've forgotten, and Lion's Blood by Stephen Barnes. Bye, Bookends!